Kevin, are things a little different without Kasim Green and Steve Harness in your head every day?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously those guys were really the older group, if you will, that really was a calming factor, but also a motivational factor. But Jamal Morrell, I think, has really picked that up the most in being a vocal leader for us in the linebacker core and as a defense as a whole.
What's different when you're out there in 7-on-7s or even this spring without those guys?
I think the difference is that now Jamal and myself are the ones that are kind of leading the charge with like Lorenzo Waters in the back end, helping the young guys out and teaching them on the fly what we're looking for out there.
Is that natural for you? Do you have to kind of wear it?
I think it's kind of natural for me, but the good thing is Coach Cohen and the defensive guys have really done a great job of keeping all the young guys up to speed on everything and how we run our defense and things like that. So we don't really have much to coach them up on, just the little things out there.
What's life been like with Coach Cohen now as the D coordinator and not just solely with you guys?
I really don't think things have changed that much. I mean, he's kept the defense generally the same, and I think he's obviously a great coach. I think he's awesome, and his schemes are great, and he's really trying to simplify things for us. So we've been enjoying it.
With some of the veterans, at linebacker kind of being the coaches at this time of year, what do you see when you look at the guys behind you, the younger guys or newer guys?
I see a lot of talent. Even the guys that came in, I think, this morning or yesterday, really a lot of talent, and a lot of them are very bright, too. I mean, they're picking up our defense quickly as we meet with them and try to just teach them the basics. And I think they're really bright, so I think we've got a lot of talent and a lot of intelligence behind us right now.
At the mic, it's so important because you're kind of running everything. What have you seen kind of from Steve in the spring and going forward? How's he kind of developing at that spot?
I've seen in the way he mentally approaches the game, just incremental improvements every day. He really started to become comfortable with calling the defense, and I still try my best because we're both in the middle, so I try to call things as best I can. But he's starting to get more comfortable doing it.
Where do you think you fit best at linebacker? Because I know you can play all three, or you have, but where do you think you fit best?
I can't say exactly where I fit best. I haven't played much Mike, but as of right now, I think I fit pretty well at the will. And Steve does a great job at the Mike. He's very fast running inside out to the ball. So I think I'm good at the will, playing backside, running things down from the back.
Is that with filling in for Kasim then at will, what? Not that you would, want to make it that comparison, but just thoughts on being the next guy to play that position of all positions.
I don't really look at it that way. Obviously, he did great things here, but I think as a defense as a whole this year, I think we can fill those shoes, everybody together, and you're not just going to replace one guy like that. So I think we have just enough talent to be able to do exactly what we did last year and maybe be better.
That's still the playmaking position, though, in this defense, right? The will.
Yep, I believe so.
Is that something? Is that talking in the spring about rather playing Will than Mike? Is that part of the reason you'd rather play to be able to be a playmaker kind of thing?
Yeah, I think. Everybody would think that. It gives you more freedom to run around and do things like that. So if you're in a playmaking position, it makes it a little more fun too.
Kasim just seemed to have a knack for the ball. It seemed, interceptions, fumbles. Is that something that comes with playing that position? Is that instinct? Do you have those similar instincts?
I think it's a little bit of both, and I think on top of that, him and Steve both, they really had an intelligence about the game and about offenses in general. So they kind of had that knack for the football because they knew what offenses were trying to do to them, and they could sit back and understand what was happening to them and then find the ball.
I was going to say, how important is the football IQ to be able to be that playmaker? And when you watch Kasim, it was like he knew where the play was going, as it was developing.
Yeah, I think it's key, really, because that's a lot in the classroom. Understanding the offenses, understanding who we're playing, and what they're trying to do to exploit our defense. So if you can understand that stuff, you know where you need to be on certain plays, and I think that's a tribute to their preparation.
What makes you said that you think this defense can kind of fill those shoes as a whole? Obviously everybody knows Rutgers was a defensive first team last year, and now kind of the experience is on the offensive side. What makes you feel? I think everybody's almost expecting now it's the offensive's turn to take the forefront and carry the load. What makes you think the defense isn't going to, take the back seat?
I think first things first is up front. Our defensive line, I think they're incredible. You got Jamil Morrell, you got Marcus Thompson, Ike Holmes, all those guys, Darius Hamilton. And I just think that they're an incredible front, and Coach Pangos does a great job with them. So, if you don't have a front line, you got nothing. I think they're really good, absolutely amazing. So, it's great playing behind those guys. And then our linebacker core, we're coming along. Jamal and myself have played a lot of football, and Steve is coming along real well. And then in the back end, you've got Lorenzo Waters and you got Jeremy Deering, who's played a lot of football, even though he's changed positions. So I think we have a good base to be a really great defense, and then our corners are coming along as well.
Kevin, Rob Smith came from kind of a Shiano background, and Coach Cohen really doesn't have that familiarity with those two. What kind of, I guess, subtle philosophy changes in general terms has he brought to the table?
I mean, like I said, they haven't really changed a lot, but I think just them, it's more about don't worry about the scheme as much as just making plays. You know where you're supposed to be more loose and more free so you can go make plays for the defense instead of just trying to fit a scheme as much. I think that would be more him.
You got a taste of action early, like right away. And some of the other new guys stepping in didn't. They redshirt. Does it matter? I mean, can somebody who played early say something to somebody who redshirted and is now coming in, and vice versa? Somebody who did mostly studying as a scout team stuff, can they give you advice that you didn't have because you were playing? Does that relationship balance off?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we say, we're family here, so I mean, you could say anything to anybody. Freshman could say something to a senior. We're all here to help each other. So I think that everybody's got a good relationship in that regard.